Hey guys, what is going on? You are watching The Token Steve, and today I've got a project that I'd like to show you guys. It's something I've been experimenting with for a little while here. A lot of you might be wanting to know how you can protect your headlights from chips and scratches. Now, it's been a problem with me in the past. You know, you're driving down the highway and the truck in front of you sandblasts you, and all of a sudden your nice, beautiful headlights are getting all chipped up and they're just not looking nearly as good as they are. And to be honest with you, headlights are a pretty substantial investment, so making sure that your headlights remain in good condition not only keeps you from having to pay a lot of money for it, but in addition keeps that visibility on the road and helps you keep protecting the investment that you've made in both your vehicle and in your life. So I've been looking into products that will protect your headlight lenses, and 3M makes quite a few of them. And most of the time you'll be looking at a clear adhesive vinyl. And what that does is it's an overlay for your headlight, and then the vinyl will take any sort of damage that you might incur to your headlight. Well, to be honest with you, systems like this can typically cost, anywhere between $30 and $100. They can get pretty expensive. And so I was wondering to myself, with my experience with Plastidip in the past, is there anything that Plastidip could do to potentially help protect my headlights for a cheaper cost and make the entire process a little bit easier to do? I think I might have figured it out, and I'm using my wife's Forester XT today to kind of demonstrate this. We went ahead and buffed her headlights with a 3M Headlight Restoration Kit, and you can see right over here is the headlight that hasn't been treated with anything. We just finished restoring it. It looks a lot better than it did before, and I want to make sure that we're able to protect it. Now, on this side is the untreated headlight. Now, on this side is the treated headlight. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how you can protect your headlights too for about $10 or so using Plastidip's Clear Plastidip and the Plastidip Glossifier. In addition, for this project, I recommend some sort of cleaning agent so that you can prep your headlights. In this case, I used dipyourcar.com's pre-dip cleaner, but that's not really necessary. You can also use like a denatured alcohol, or you can use the soapy water and just make sure that the surface is really dry before you try to do this. All we're trying to do is make sure that we can kind of clean the porous areas on the headlight and make sure that we're going to get some decent adhesion, make sure that the surface is really clean and grease-free so that the Plastidip won't have any trouble adhering to it. In addition, I would also recommend getting some of these blue shop towels, and you're going to need some masking tape for this as well. So let's go ahead and get started on the project and see how it turns out. Now, before we do anything on this project, we're going to need to make sure that we've got a nice clean surface to work with. And so this is where your soapy water or your denatured alcohol or your pre-dip spray comes in. So let's go ahead and clean the headlights off. Now, the advantage of using something like an alcohol or this pre-dip spray is that it evaporates really quickly, so you don't have to wait a lot of time for the surface to be ready to move to the next step. So, now that the headlights are clean, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mask this off. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, Plastidip is removable, so why bother masking it off? Well, we're going to be using the glossifier as well, and you don't want the overspray from the glossifier getting onto standard paint. That's not what it's made for. It's only supposed to be in contact with the Plastidip. So let's go ahead and mask the paint around the headlight so that we've got a good surface that we can go ahead and work with. Here's our preliminary masking. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use these towels here, and you can use newspaper, regular paper, whatever you want to use here, to just go ahead and create a better mask around the headlight itself so that that overspray isn't going to go ahead and get on your paint. Alright, so now we've finished our masking, and it looks something like what I imagine surgery would look like, I think, with these blue towels in here. But either way, we're ready to go. So what I'm going to go ahead and do first is we're going to grab our can of Clear Plastidip here, and the Clear Plastidip is what's actually going to provide that strong base that's going to keep our headlights safe. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put 3 layers on, waiting about probably about 5 to 10 minutes in between each of the layers that we put on, and that should build it up enough to the point where the headlight itself is going to be safe. Okay, our first layer is now on. You want to go pretty light with that first layer. What the first layer is going to do is it's going to allow kind of a tackier surface that's going to allow the following layers to adhere to it a lot better. So go real light with that first layer, and then for the subsequent layers you can go ahead and put some heavier coats on there for that additional protection that you're going to want. Alright guys, we've got 3 coats of the clear Plastidip on the headlights now. I went with 1 initial light coat, and then I went with 2 heavier coats, and that should be enough to provide some pretty decent protection for this headlight. Definitely against small rocks and dirt and dust, or sand and whatnot, anything that could potentially, you know, really start to fog up the headlight. The problem that you're going to notice at this point is the headlight itself is really hazy, and you know, obviously that's a problem. Yes, we want protection, but we also want to make sure that our headlights are still clear. You know, they still look good, they still look new. So that's where our Plastidip glossifier comes in. And I picked mine up over at dipyourcar.com. I'm not quite sure where else it might be available, but I'm sure you could look around and find it in various locations. But anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to apply the Plastidip glossifier over the top of the clear Plastidip. And this is going to fill up some of those spaces and make it look a little bit more shiny and kind of bring it back to life again. And we'll probably be doing about 3 to 4 coats of this. Basically, you can just keep going with the glossifier until you get to the glossiness that you want. And in the case of my other headlight, it was about 4 coats, and so that's what I'm expecting for this headlight as well. So let's go ahead and see how it turns out. Now, something to keep in mind when you're doing this, just make sure that you're not putting the glossifier on so heavily that it's going to drip. That could create some real problems. It wouldn't look very good, obviously. Another thing is, if you're not sure if the glossifier is ready to go yet, or even if you're not sure if the Plastidip's ready to go and ready to be sprayed onto, just kind of touch the area surrounding, like the area that's masked off, and you can feel whether it's dry or not. And if it feels dry or like maybe even slightly tacky to the touch, that's about when you're ready to go on with another coat. So we've got 2 more coats of the glossifier to do. Let's get these knocked out and see what our final result is. Alright guys, so that was our 4th and final coat of the Plastidip glossifier. Now we just gotta wait for it to actually cure up, and then we should be in pretty good shape. I am gonna note something. As far as the glossifier is concerned, it does say on the can to give it about 8 hours in order to set up completely, 100%. So what I did with this last night actually is I went ahead and I shot the other headlight on here. And let's go ahead and take a look at how the other headlight and the final product in this project is gonna look. So here's the final product that we're looking for in this project. Now, this headlight is sat overnight, and it's pretty much totally cured up. If you touch it, it does feel a little rubbery still, and that's pretty indicative of Plastidip. If you give it a couple of days to cure up completely, it actually becomes a more smooth surface. But anyway, so this gives you kind of an idea of what the final product looks like. It's got very slightly more opacity, perhaps, than the initial headlight did, but it's also got 3 coats of Plastidip on it, 4 coats of glossifier on it, and it's well protected against any of the elements. Plus, I'll remind you, the big plus side of Plastidip is that, of course, you can remove it if you decide you don't want it in the future. So, very much like its 3M counterparts, if we're trying to protect the headlight, if you ever want to remove this, all you've got to do is roll your fingers up on the edge of it and you can peel it off. But if you watch some of my other videos, you'll also see that this stuff is highly durable as well. I've
I've had a Plastidip coating my car almost completely for about a year now, and it still looks fantastic. It's not been damaged at all, and the same is going to be true for these headlight protectors. But whether or not you want to Plastidip your car, you know, this is a pretty good idea as far as protecting your headlights and making sure that investment stays safe and that your headlights continue looking good. You can clean these in the same way that you would clean them before. You know, you can use a spray detailer on them. In the case of these lenses are actually plastic, and so you know you can use spray detailer on them to clean them off. And you can clean them just the same way that you would otherwise.
As always, I had a great time making this video. Hope that you guys really enjoyed it, and you know, if you did like it, you know, go ahead and throw a like on the video. You know, throw a comment up there if you think I could be improving something, or you've got some ideas for future videos. Definitely put them up there. Aside from that, you know, if you want to keep up with me, I'm the Token Steve on YouTube. Just go ahead and subscribe to my videos. I'd really appreciate it. It kind of, you know, helps me keep in the loop and makes me realize that people continue to be interested in the videos that I'm doing. So anyways, I hope you guys got a lot out of this video, and I'll be looking forward to making more videos for you soon. Thanks.